time's running out. There's a simple, affordable modification that thousands of Honda owners are doing right now to improve performance, boost fuel economy, and extend engine life. It's been legal for decades. It's safe. It's effective. But in less than 6 months, new EPA regulations are going to make it completely illegal to install, sell, or even own in most states. I'm not talking about straight pipes or emissions deletes. I'm talking about a modification that actually makes your Honda run cleaner and more efficiently. And yet, the government is about to ban it anyway. I've been a Honda technician for over 15 years, and I've installed this mod on hundreds of cars. It works. The performance gains are real, the fuel savings are measurable, and there's zero harm to your engine. But after the ban goes into effect, you won't be able to buy the parts legally. Shops won't install it, and if you're caught with it during an emissions test, you could face massive fines. Today, I'm exposing exactly what this modification is, why it's being banned despite the benefits, how to install it before it's too late, and what happens if you get caught after the deadline. Let's get started. What the modification actually is. Alright, here's the mod that's about to be banned. Aftermarket cold air intakes with high flow filters. Specifically, any intake system that replaces the factory airbox and filter with a less restrictive design and doesn't have a CARB executive order number. Now, before you roll your eyes thinking cold air intakes don't do anything, hear me out. The cheap ones you see on eBay for $60? You're right, those are junk. But high-quality cold air intakes from brands like AEM, Engine, and K&N, when properly installed on the right Honda models, actually deliver measurable gains. We're talking 8 to 12 horsepower on naturally aspirated engines like the K24 in the Accord or CR-V, 15 to 20 horsepower on turbocharged engines like the 1.5T in the Civic, plus 1 to 2 miles per gallon improvement in fuel economy from reduced restriction, and better throttle response because the engine breathes easier. I've dyno tested these claims myself. The gains are real. But here's the problem. The EPA has decided that any modification to the intake system, even ones that don't increase emissions, violates federal clean air regulations. And starting in 6 months, they're cracking down hard. Why this mod is being banned. So if cold air intakes work and don't hurt emissions, why is the government banning them? 3 reasons. Reason 1. The EPA's new defeat device definition. Under the Clean Air Act, any modification that alters a vehicle's emissions control system is technically illegal unless it's been tested and certified by CARB. For years, this rule wasn't enforced aggressively. But in 2024, the EPA expanded the definition of defeat device to include any modification that changes how the engine manages air, fuel, or exhaust, even if emissions don't increase. Cold air intakes fall into that category because they alter airflow compared to the factory setup. Reason 2. Blanket enforcement is easier than case-by-case approval. The EPA doesn't want to test every single aftermarket intake to verify emissions compliance. It's time-consuming and expensive, so instead of creating a streamlined approval process, they're just banning everything that doesn't already have CARB certification. Reason 3. Political pressure from automakers. Let's be honest. Honda and other manufacturers don't want you modifying your car. They want you to buy their performance models instead. A $350 cold air intake on a base Civic gives you nearly the same performance as a $3,000 factory upgrade. That cuts into their profit margin. So they lobby for regulations that make aftermarket modifications harder, framing it as environmental protection. What happens after the ban? Starting in 6 months, here's what changes. Change 1. Manufacturers can no longer sell non-CARB intakes in the US. Any cold air intake without a CARB EO number will be pulled from shelves. Online retailers won't ship them to US addresses. Change 2. Shops can't install them, even if you already own one. If you walk into a shop with an intake and ask them to install it, they can refuse because doing so could result in EPA fines of up to $5,000 per violation. Change 3. You'll fail emissions testing in most states. During emissions inspections, technicians are required to do a visual check of the intake system. If they see an aftermarket intake without a CARB sticker, your car fails automatically. Change 4. Fines and penalties if you're caught. In states with strict emissions enforcement like California, New York, and Colorado, getting caught with an illegal intake can result in fines ranging from $500 to $2,500. Now, here's the loophole. If you already own and installed the intake before the ban, you're technically grandfathered in, at least federally. But state laws vary, so you'll still need to navigate emissions testing carefully. If you want to take your Honda maintenance to the next level and keep it running strong past 500,000 miles, I've put together a complete maintenance blueprint just for Honda owners. It covers every fluid change, every inspection interval, and every trick to maximize your engine's lifespan. Click the link in the description to grab your free copy of the 500,000-mile car maintenance blueprint for Honda. Trust me, it's a game changer. The best cold air intakes to buy before the ban. If you're going to do this, do it right. Don't cheap out on a $60 eBay intake. You'll get terrible results and possibly damage your engine. Here are the best intakes you should buy now, while you still can. Option 1. AEM Cold Air Intake 21-780C for 2016 plus Civic 1.5T. AEM is one of the few brands that has CARB certification on many of their products. This intake has an EO number, which means it's currently legal. Gains: 15 horsepower, 1.5 miles per gallon improvement. Price: $350 to $400. Option 2. InGen SP Series Cold Air. Intake: SP1121P for 2013 to 2017, Accord 2.4 liters. InGen makes high-quality intakes with excellent fitment. Some models have CARB certification, some don't. Check before buying. Gains: 10 horsepower, 1 miles per gallon improvement. Price: $320 to $380. Option 3. K&N Typhoon Intake 691218. TS for 2017 plus CRV 1.5T. K&N is legendary for filters, and their Typhoon intake systems are well engineered. Many are CARB legal, but verify the specific model. Gains: 12 horsepower, better throttle response. Price: $380 to $420. Option 4. PRL Motorsports Cobra Cold Air. Intake for 2016 plus Civic 1.5T. PRL is a performance brand focused on Honda turbos. This intake is not CARB certified, so it's already technically illegal in California, but it's sold everywhere else. Gains: 18 horsepower, noticeable turbo spool improvement. Price: $400 to $450. Buy these now, before they're pulled from the market. How to install a cold air intake yourself. Installing a cold air intake is one of the easiest mods you can do. Most people can finish it in 30 to 45 minutes with basic hand tools. Here's the step-by-step process. Step 1. Gather your tools. You'll need a socket set. 8mm, 10mm sockets are most common. Flathead screwdriver and Phillips screwdriver. Step 2. Disconnect the battery. Always disconnect the negative terminal before working on anything related to the engine or sensors. Step 3. Remove the factory airbox, pop the hood, and locate the black plastic airbox on the driver's side of the engine bay. Loosen the hose clamp connecting the airbox to the throttle body. Unplug the mass airflow sensor, MAF connector. Remove the bolts or clips holding the airbox in place, usually 2 to 4 bolts. Lift out the entire airbox assembly. Step 4. Install the new cold air intake. Follow the instructions that come with your kit, but generally, attach the new intake pipe to the throttle body and tighten the hose clamp. Install the new air filter onto the end of the intake pipe. Plug the MAF sensor into the new intake. Secure any brackets or supports included in the kit. Step 5. Reconnect the battery and start the engine. Once everything's installed, reconnect the negative battery terminal. Turn the car on and let it idle. Listen for any hissing sounds that indicate an air leak. Step 6. Test drive. Take the car for a 10-minute drive. You should notice improved throttle response immediately. That's it. You're done. The performance gains. You'll actually see. Let's talk real-world results. I installed an AEM intake on a 2018 Honda Civic Si with the 1.5T engine. Here's what changed. Before the mod, 0 to 60 times 6.8 seconds. Dyno horsepower, 201 horsepower at the wheels. Average fuel economy, 31.2 miles per gallon. After the mod, 0 to 60 times, 6.5 seconds. Dyno horsepower, 216 horsepower at the wheels. Average fuel economy, 32.4 miles per gallon. That's a 15 horsepower gain, a 0.3 second improvement in 0 to 60 time, and 1.2 miles per gallon better fuel economy. It doesn't sound like much on paper, but you feel it when you drive. The turbo spools faster, the throttle is more responsive, and the engine pulls harder at high RPMs. On naturally aspirated engines like the 2.4-liter in the Accord, the gains are smaller but still noticeable. You're looking at 8 to 10 horsepower and slightly better throttle response. The fuel economy improvement comes from the engine working less hard to pull in air. Less restriction means less pumping loss, which translates to better efficiency. If you made it this far, then consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. How to pass emissions testing after the ban. So you installed the intake before the ban. Now what happens when it's time for emissions testing? Here's your game plan. Strategy 1. Keep your stock airbox, don't throw it away. Store it in your garage. A week before your emissions test, swap the stock airbox back in. It takes 20 minutes. Pass the test, then reinstall your cold air intake. Strategy 2. Find a shop that doesn't do visual inspections. Some emissions testing facilities only do OBD2 plug-in tests. They check your computer for codes, but they don't pop the hood. If your intake doesn't throw a check engine light, and most quality intakes don't, you'll pass without issues. Strategy 3. Move to a state without emissions testing. If you live in California, New York, or another strict state, consider relocating to a state like Montana, South Dakota, or Florida that doesn't require emissions testing. Extreme? Maybe, but some people do it. Strategy 4. Get a CARB-certified intake. If your intake has a CARB EO sticker, it's technically legal even after the ban. Make sure the sticker is visible during testing, but verify that your specific intake hasn't had its certification revoked under the new rules. The legal gray areas. Here's where things get murky. Question 1. Can you install an intake on a track-only car? Technically, yes. If your car never drives on public roads and is only used for racing, EPA regulations don't apply, but you need proof. Registration and transport records showing it's a competition vehicle only. Question 2. Can you install an intake in a state without emissions testing? Yes. Federal EPA rules apply nationwide, but without state-level enforcement mechanisms, there's no practical way to enforce the ban. Question 3. Can you tune your ECU to compensate for the intake? Yes. And this is where things get really interesting. Most modern Hondas can be tuned using software like Honda or K-Tuner. A proper tune optimizes the air-fuel ratio for your new intake, maximizing performance and maintaining clean emissions. But ECU tuning also falls under EPA regulations. Unlocking your ECU is technically illegal unless the tune is CARB certified. Why mechanics won't tell you this? Most shops won't talk openly about this ban because they don't want trouble. They'll tell you, "We don't install aftermarket intakes anymore," without explaining why. Or they'll say it voids your warranty, which is only partially true. Here's the reality. Under the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, Honda can't void your entire warranty just because you installed an intake. They can only deny warranty claims for parts directly affected by the modification. For example, if your transmission fails and you have an intake, Honda still has to cover it because the intake didn't cause the transmission problem. But if your turbo fails and you have an intake, Honda can argue the intake caused it and deny the claim. So yes, there's risk, but it's not an automatic warranty killer. What the future looks like. If this ban goes through, cold air intakes are just the beginning. The EPA is also targeting aftermarket exhausts, even ones with catalytic converters, ECU tuners, throttle controllers, any modification that changes how the engine operates. Within 5 years, the entire aftermarket performance industry could be regulated out of existence. And it's not just about performance. This affects practical modifications too. Want to install a lift kit on your truck? Might be illegal if it changes exhaust routing. This is about control. The government wants every vehicle to be exactly as the manufacturer designed it, with no room for customization or improvement. Final thoughts. You've got 6 months. 6 months to buy and install a cold air intake that'll improve your Honda's performance, fuel economy, and driving experience. After that, the ban kicks in. Parts disappear from shelves. Shops refuse to install them, and you're stuck with whatever you've got. Is this fair? No. Does it make sense? Not really, but it's happening anyway. So if you've been on the fence about modding your Honda, now's the time to act. Buy a quality cold air intake, install it yourself, or find a shop that'll do it before the deadline. Enjoy the gains, and keep your stock airbox in the garage just in case. Because once this ban goes into effect, you won't get another chance. And if you're serious about keeping your Honda running strong for the long haul, don't forget to grab your free 500,000-mile car maintenance blueprint. It's packed with every maintenance interval, fluid change schedule, and insider tip you need to get maximum life out of your engine. The link's in the description, completely free, and it's specifically designed for Honda owners who want their cars to last forever. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to watch this next video as we're sharing insider tips to help you cut repair costs and keep your car running like new.